Okay, so do you really want to be doing this when you're 50? So this article talks about just programming and I don't know, software. But in terms of like, do you really want to be doing this long term, or is it just something I don't know that you just got into and you won't enjoy later on? So let's read what he has to say, and we'll carry on from there. So when I was still a professional programmer, my office mate once asked you about something out of the blue. Do you really want to be doing this kind of work when you're 50? And I think right now, have a think. Do you really want to be doing this when you're 50, right? Um, I think at least a couple of years ago, it was a very interesting field. Like there were lots of jobs and stuff, a lot of opportunities. So I think a lot of people just dove into it for maybe out of curiosity and a lot out of money as well. But I think given the kind of situation we're in right now with all the tech layoffs and stuff, it's starting to become kind of a field where people are kind of doubting if they want to go into it. And people who did get into it for money now may be thinking, oh, well, actually, I don't like this stuff, right? So I think it's a good thing to have a think about. Anyway, I have to stop. I have to say that made me stop and think. Yep. To me, there's an infinite frustration in programming. It doesn't stem from having to work out solutions to difficult problems. It takes careful thought, but it's the same kind of thought a novelist uses to organize a story or to write a dialogue that rings true. That kind of problem solving is satisfying, even fun. Yep. I think that's what, at least for me, that's what really is fun is solving the problem. You must have seen enough memes about where you're like, oh, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. It works. Oh, I love this, right? Um, for me, that's what it is. I do love programming, and I don't see myself doing it till I'm 50. Well, who knows, right? I don't see myself doing it till I'm 50. I do want to get into like different positions, I guess, where I'm not programming constantly. But at the same time, I don't think I'll ever stop programming because I enjoy it. Like I just love it, right? So much. So I think it's kind is I want it to be kind of a thing that I do because I want to, not because I have to, if that makes sense. So it's about skimming great oceans of APIs that you could spend years studying and learning, but the markets would have moved on by then, and there's no fun anyway. So you cut and paste from examples and manage to get by without a full picture of the architecture supporting your app. I think this is becoming more and more true nowadays as time goes by. There's too many things getting released, right? So you learn one thing, you use it for a couple of years, and there's already this new shiny thing in the market. And it gets to a point where it becomes difficult to like learn everything. And then what happens is like when you end up using it, you're just copying it and pasting it from the internet, and especially with the use of AI, this is like just yeah, just tell it to do something, it'll do something, and you just become a debugger instead. It's about reading between the lines of documentation and guessing at how edge cases are handled and whether or not your assumptions will stand or hold true 2 months or 2 years from now. It's about the constant evolutionary changes that occur in language definition, the compiler, the libraries, the application framework, and the underlying operating system that allows that all snowballs together and keeps you in maintenance mode instead of making real improvements. Okay. Yeah, it just keeps on saying about the same thing. It's about getting derailed by hairline fractures in otherwise reliable tools and apparently being the first person to discover that the PNG image with 4 bits per pixel and an alpha channel crashes the decoder. Does it? Then having to work around that. Um, One approach is to dig in and power through all the obstacles. If you're fresh out of school, there's a free Starbucks lattes down the hall, and all your friends are still at the office at 2 a.m. Well, that works. But then you have to do it again and again and again. I think that's where like the problem starts coming is in terms of like, do you want to do this long term? Is like, okay, it's fun and all nice at the start, but once you are there, doing it again and again, and picking your brain again and again, are you still going to enjoy it at that point, right? It's always the last second skid at 120 miles per hour with brakes smoking and tires shredding that makes all the difference between success and failure. But you pulled off another miracle and survived to do it again. I still like building thing, and if there's no one else to do it, then I'll do it myself. I keep improving the tiny Perl script that puts together this site because that tiny Perl script is unobtrusive and reliable and lets me focus on writing. I have a handy little image composition tool that's less than 28 kilobytes of C and Erlang. I know that it works inside and out, and I can make change it in less time than it takes to coax what I want out of ImageMake. But a large scale, high stress coding, I have to admit that a young man's game. Yeah, I think in overall it just keeps repeating the same thing of do you want to do it again? For some people it works. It works, right? There's an engineer within my company. He's been in this game for very, very, very long time. He's the what was the title again? Do you really want to be doing this when you're 50? I think he's well past 50. Um, and that's what he told me once. It's like he just loves software engineering. That's why he does it. He said he went into managing once, and other things, management and other things, and then he just didn't like it. So he just came back as a principal engineer, and that's where he's been. You code every day, you do what you want, and then life's good. So for some people, that's what you want to be. If you get really good at it, and it does pay. But is that your thing? Do you just want to be sitting down at a desk, coding, having a headache? Is that really your thing? So have a think about it, and then well, let me know in the comments.